they thought that by having the debate early, that the entire focus would be on President Trump. And keep in mind, this can't be pointed out enough. So, and this is something that we have been talking about. I mean, it's worth going into the calendar on this Wednesday, July 17th, to really look at just what has happened. What a just incredible, remarkable stretch that has taken place since that debate night. Um, it can't be overstated, just the turn of events that have happened, and by the way, are are still taking place right now, because it's still uncertain, seemingly. As much as, I mean, I one thing that we seem to know is that President Biden, one thing that is accurate is he seemingly has no intentions of leaving unless he's forced out. But it's very dramatic with what is happening. And again, good afternoon also, everybody that is tuning in our live simulcast on Facebook Live. We had a slight glitch. I apologize. We're live. We're on time on the radio, and then we were on time on X, and then we were even on time on YouTube. But the Facebook connection, for whatever reason, we ran into a minor problem. But by this point, right now at 12:09, I'm fairly certain that we're good to go. And again, good afternoon, everyone. We had a little bit of a stop and start on some of our other platforms, but the radio part is fine, and the Facebook part, by all accounts, is fine. And there's so much to news to get to, and we're going to touch on it, but it can't be understated. There's Patty Ann. There's Anthony. That's right. All right. So there's everybody. I want to just before it's so dramatic. You have to look at the calendar. Now today, I'm not going to break any news here, but today is Wednesday, July 17th, and when you go back to where we were, and it wasn't long ago. I mean, it was not long ago that it was the Thursday, as you think of it. It's Thursday, June 27th was the debate. Was the debate. And it was a game changer, to say the least. So I'm just looking at my own calendar. Then that Monday, July 1st, was the mistrial of Karen Read. So then you had, the eruption over the true condition of the president laid bare for all to see. Keep in mind, the whole purpose of June 27th, the whole purpose of that, a date and format selected by Team Biden, the Biden campaign, was they thought it would put the focus solely on President Trump and then pave the way, and they were going to blow him up or try to all summer long. And then they would just start to pull away. And instead, that Friday, July 5th, the day after the 4th, was the Stephanopoulos interview that certainly didn't, ease any concerns. Things were very active the week of last week, July 8th, Democrats scrambling. Then it became, they even did a poll on Kamala Harris. So the week of June 24th was the week of the debate on the 27th. Then that Monday was July 1st, mistrial Karen Read. Friday was the Stephanopoulos interview. Didn't help his cause in any way. The 8th was jockeying, Biden remaining firm, he's not leaving the race. Saturday was the assassination attempt on President Trump, and here we sit on the 18th, where tonight, the selection of J.D. Vance, and then tomorrow night, President Trump gives his speech. But you're seeing a very unified convention, and I mean, tomorrow night's only 3 weeks since the debate of the 27th. Then on Monday night, President Biden did the interview with Lester Holt that certainly didn't help anything. He certainly isn't helping his cause. But it's just so rapid fire. Also, President Trump's the documents trial, the verdict was thrown out. So I want to touch on that. We're obviously going to talk about the convention. I'm going to touch on J.D. Vance, what the strategy is for him. But I want to start off, folks. If you don't realize, and I think most of this audience does, the danger that this McKee administration, that they continue to put all of us at risk. It's one of those stories that it's going to be downplayed by the rest of the local media. It's not going to be downplayed by me. And, the rest of the media that is just content to go along with the McKee path of destruction, McKee Matos, that is single-handedly just putting us in a tenuous situation, to put it mildly. I'm going to touch on that, but folks, right now, I do want to remind you about PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Locally sourced vegetables, sweet corn, native tomatoes, everything. Check out their Facebook page. They do a great job with it. They highlight all of these locally sourced vegetables that they have. Now, a lot of people are down at the beaches, even though it's not a great beach day, but it's still very warm. Folks, PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. They're open 7 days a week. Hanging pots, vegetable plants, tropical mandavillas, full-scale nursery. Right off of Route 4, 3688 Quaker Lane in North Kingstown. It's PR Landscape Materials and Garden Center. Well, we're going to have a busy day on DePetro.com, and we're getting more details about this. This portion of the program, DePetro.com, brought to you by the Coesit Inn. 226 Coesit Avenue, West Warwick, lunch, dinner. Anthony Santos said drinks in the lounge. Plus, they have the market at Coesit, the Coesit Inn, air-conditioned, and they're waiting for you. As if the people of East Providence can take much more. I think I would argue that they can't, they shouldn't be expected to. This is one of those things that the East Providence police, which are, by the way, great police force, and some of the things they have to deal with. The mayor of East Providence is putting them in danger. The governor is putting the residents and the people in danger, as if the bridge isn't bad enough. This story that we have on DePetro.com, and I'm going to be providing more details about it. And that is, wow, you want to talk about the type of individuals that, by being a sanctuary state, that Governor McKee and Matos are luring in here. East Providence police arrest 3 after armed robbery. Now, you want to talk about dangerous suspects. Now, first of all, I'm going to give you some of the details no one else, the rest of the media won't. They'll ignore it. It's all on DePetro.com. And I'm going to fill in more details. There they are. They were alerted to a robbery, shots fired at the victim. 9 o'clock yesterday morning in the area of James Street. Victim approached an officer working traffic detail, gave a description of the suspects, located a red Honda CRV, crashed at the intersection of James Street, Blanding Avenue. Neighbors confirmed hearing gunfire, directed them to the vicinity where the 3 fled on foot. Police set up a perimeter. I'm so bummed we missed this, but focused on Central Avenue Playground. They located the 3 hiding behind the skate ramp. Now, there was supposed to be a transaction. Somebody had posted something online. These thieves show up. Oh, do you have the money for the item? And then, they all are armed. A loaded firearm was located in the immediate area of the 3 suspects. They were identified by the victim, brought to the police station to be processed. Here they are. God bless me. Abel Nolasco from the Bronx, David Ramos of the Bronx, and Alex Manuel Jesus Marte of Providence. All 3 have been charged with first-degree robbery, conspiracy, license required to carry a firearm, disorderly conduct, firing a compact area, and additionally, all three are being held on ICE detainers because, you guessed it, they are all illegals, not only in the country, none of them spoke English. What they did start doing, I've been told, is, and these are three, they were in East Providence yesterday morning looking to rob somebody with a weapon, 9 o'clock in the morning. These are the type of individuals that McKee Matos are attracting to Rhode Island. So what I've learned, again, folks, you can see it all on depetro.com, where I'm going to be adding more details. From what I have learned is they pretend, even though they can't, not a word of English, none of them supposed could speak a word of English. So they pretend they can't breathe, so then they have to take them to the hospital. And you're really draining resources. So there's so many different questions here. Why are these people being a magnet to Rhode Island? But do you see what's happening? These are dangerous illegals in the Bronx that are now trying to gain a foothold into Rhode Island. You know, I didn't talk about it so much yesterday because we have been, so focused, obviously, on the convention, which makes sense. But if you remember last summer, a cartel member, as I have told you, we were there, was shot and killed, Dunnigan Park in Oneyville. Miss Housecoat, we ran into her again right across the street from there. Well, that was on a Saturday night. That Monday, Providence police, it was last June, they surrounded a house. I still think he was in there. But anyhow, they were calling for him to come out, and they ended up catching him 2 days later hiding on Union Avenue, Silver Lake. We were the only ones there on Union Avenue in Silver Lake. He just pled out. So that Saturday night, there's an argument at Dunnigan Park in Oneyville. Now, those of you that watch Road Patrol, I ride past, and I always point it out. There's the park. It was last June. He eliminated Kevin Curran. He took the life of a cartel member. So he pled out. They were about to put him on trial. He got 15 years. 15 years. Now, 15 years, you're out in 6. I mean, that's what now human life in Rhode Island. Now, again, I don't know all the particulars, if it was an argument over a weapon and he felt threatened. I mean, I don't know if then they pled it. I think it was pled out to like a manslaughter. He didn't mean to kill him. It was going to be a fight. I don't know all the details of that. But what I do know is no one is highlighting. And I tell this to Lynn Miller, and good afternoon to Lynn and all the people of East Providence. You know, Mayor De Silva, where is your loyalty? Is your loyalty to, I don't know why he would still be loyal to Governor McKee at this point. But what about the people of East Providence? What about the people of Rumford? What about, the people of Riverside? What about the people, despite, how much are they going to get thrown at them? Now they have to deal with illegal criminals at 9 o'clock in the morning. I received a message from a grandmother. She took her grandson to that playground the day before. They went to go back there yesterday morning. It was all blocked off. And then I was the one that told her, well, they had a shooting right there. Now, I'm also just learning, 18-year-old man shot and killed in Pawtucket. No, but it was late, though. That was 1 o'clock. They found a victim suffering from a gunshot wound, 18 years old, shot and killed, 1 o'clock this morning. That was at a school in Rosewood Street. Rosewood Street. So we're going to learn to get more details from Pawtucket police. But I just then now want to see how other people are going to cover this East Providence story, because it's eye-opening. And I can assure you they're not going to cover it the way they should. This is a major red flag for all of us. This is 9 o'clock in the morning. This is not all right. So everyone's doing the man 18 shot to death in Pawtucket. Well, we'll be out tonight, Road Patrol, because there's going to be retaliation. 18 years old, shot to death. School in Rosewood Street. All right, so Pawtucket police are still investigating. Here I just checked the Channel 12 website. Okay, I just checked Channel 12. Now I'm on Channel 10. East Providence police identify 3 arrested after armed robbery shooting. This is the Channel 10. East Providence police identified 3 men. Blah, blah, blah. Shots were fired. Help a neighbor saw the suspect. Loaded firearm. All right, they do have all 3 are being held on ICE detainers due to illegal entry into the United States. All right, let's see if everyone else puts that. Normally, local media, they hide that type of thing. It is, and by the way, so right now they can't, just on a local element, they can't find anyone to be the housing director right now in Rhode Island. They just had another resignation. And so what does Governor McKee do? Like, this is embarrassing at this point. He says, oh, Dan Connors, he was the guy that got nailed on the DUI working for Raimondo. He's going to be the new housing secretary. Why is he going to be the new housing secretary? Because he lives in Cumberland. When does the Cumberland crony, when does that end? Do you see what's happening right now with the McGreed campaign? They're in total meltdown. No one else? Does Dan Connors have any experience in that area? Everything's like a throwaway. Everything's a throwaway. Here's what I'll say about Governor McGreed. He doesn't even attempt to find the best person possible. How is Dan Connors? What? He doesn't have any experience with housing. All that means is open up the floodgates for more cronyism and award more, pay-to-play contracts. This is just pathetic at this point. It really is. Dan Connors, Raimondo cut that guy loose in 2 seconds. So the Cumberland connection, Rhode Island's new interim housing chief will be former Senate Majority Leader Dan Connors. He had been working for Raimondo. He got, he then took a job, working with her when he had been Senate Majority Leader. He is an attorney. She cut him loose after he got banged on the DUI. And now he's the interim housing chief. My question is, though, how does, what's very obvious is Governor McKee, he doesn't keep a bench of people that, ideally, I was speaking about this with someone yesterday. For every position, someone that has served in high role in government had said, for every position, you always have to have your plan A, B, and C. If this happens to this person, we go to this one or this one. But McKee doesn't follow basic management. His seemingly the only criteria for Governor McGreed is they have to live in Cumberland. I just want to check this story. Is this, remember the whole thing of the Moors? Is that what that is? Yes. 2 men have been sentenced for their role, the armed standoff. That was the Moors. Busy highway, lasted 8 hours, traffic delays. Jamal Tavon Sanders Lemaire was sentenced 3 to 5 years in prison. Stephen Anthony Perez, they were a year and a half. Rise of the Moors, the Moops, claimed they were headed to Maine for training when a state trooper asked. They stopped and, hey, do you guys need any help? A dozen people arrested. They recovered 3 AR-15 rifles, 2 pistols, a bolt-action rifle, a shotgun, and a shot barrel rifle. The men, dressed in fatigues and body armor or armed with long guns and pistols, did not have licenses to carry firearms in the state. Oh no, we don't need a license. See, we're with the rise of the Moors. See, we're sovereign citizens. Yeah, how'd that work out for you? Where is the headquarters? Pawtucket. I mean, so demented. They were the same ones when they were in court that then were saying, we don't need attorneys because we don't recognize your government. Oh, okay. Maybe he'll recognize the inside of a jail cell. 2 of them have been sentenced. Folks, this portion of the program, I do want to touch on JD Vance, but again, I can't get past the McKee situation. Oh, I did want to just see, I did see someone put out House Democrats are calling off their letter railing against DNC plans to hold a virtual roll call to nominate Biden. Good. Continue on. I think it's great. I think it's terrific that Biden's going to be the nominee. Let me just see this. Huffman told Axios, the DNC saying the virtual roll call won't happen in July as a win. We'll continue to see how this evolves. They don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. So how about, and talk about, so Biden is embracing a laundry list of left-wing policy proposals, strong-arming the party's nomination process, and still trying to limit spontaneous, unscripted moments. Oh, yeah, that's going to help him. That's going to help him. Embracing the left. They are, I mean, and folks, as we have already said, it is absolutely like ludicrous at the thought. Let them continue with him as the nominee. I'm still laughing at, I saw a meme. Now, you remember President Biden, when he was saying my vice president, Vice President Trump, and there was a meme on Saturday night. It was the first time I laughed on Saturday night of Biden looking distraught, saying they should have my vice president. That again, it is just nonstop humor with him. So next month they're going to gather in Chicago. He's going to walk out on the stage. It's going to be Trump in a blowout. And all of their talking points, everything that they've been trying to throw at President Trump, and now they're trying to throw at JD Vance. None of it matters when you have someone that will say back in 2020, well, actually, he was Obama's. No, he wasn't the vice president in 2020. Back in 2020, when I was Obama's vice president, if that is the best candidate, he's the candidate. He's the Governor McKee, Matos, they're all behind him. They're all behind him. Folks, I want to remind you about FenceRI.com. If you're thinking of getting a fence, how about that's another thing that happened with the Secret Service in Pennsylvania was they didn't have the gate was locked that they had set up. And so they actually had to run a car to ram to get through the gate so they could all run over there. I mean, it's just a disaster. But FenceRI.com, find them online at FenceRI.com. Call them 401-732-0555. Long-term quality solutions for your yard. Remember, the premier fence and deck contractor. So if you're thinking of maybe you'd like to get a new deck or fence, maybe it's for a pet or pool or just more privacy. And don't underestimate how fences can serve as security, especially at the people in East Providence right now. As you have, I mean, those are 3 dangerous illegals in East Providence looking to commit crime. From the Bronx, now being held by ICE to be deported. Folks, call FenceRI.com, 401-732-0555. Long-term quality solutions for your yard. Remember, you get $200 off if you mention our program. Wood deck construction, licensed and insured, 5-star rating, free online quote, FenceRI.com. Call them. Get them in the mix. Let's just say on this Wednesday, you're saying, you know what? I have been thinking of getting a fence. We're getting a dog, cat, what have you. Want to have the protection. I just want privacy. I want security. Call them 401-732-0555. You can't be more of a Rhode Island company than your name is FenceRI.com. And online at FenceRI.com, you can also find them on Facebook. Now, someone did ask me, Colleen asked, she's having a family party and they don't want to get eaten alive. What did I recommend? Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Mosquito Joe provides mosquito control service, residential, commercial. They treated my property. You can sit out at night and you feel like you're in New York City or, in Southern California, there's no mosquitoes. Mosquito Joe. Let them treat your property or for your business, as a matter of fact. 401-426-2032. And again, I share their Facebook page, but let them treat your yard, especially you don't want to get eaten alive. You don't want to have your guest eaten alive. Many times people, they want to go out, enjoy the nice outdoors, and then they're getting, because we had so many rain, it's a bad mosquito and tick season. Mosquito Joe of Rhode Island. Now, I can't get past what we're dealing with in East Providence because it's not your imagination. It's starting to become more commonplace, and the police can only do so much. So when the East Providence police yesterday morning, when they were called to a playground at 9 a.m. where children are going to play, and it's summertime, or parents or grandparents, as I received an email, it's unfair to law enforcement that they have to deal with 3 very dangerous criminals. Not a word of English. They're not even supposed to be in the country. And they have a handgun. And they had fired the handgun. What are they doing in Rhode Island? Why would they be coming here? Folks, as I have told you, much like Mosquito Joe gets rid of mosquitoes, if you have water in your yard, that can act as like a breeding ground for mosquitoes. Under McKee and Matos, we are a magnet for illegals. While other states are beefing up, and while other states are really going strong and cutting down on illegals. You saw Governor DeSantis last night, who I thought, by the way, was great. He actually made President Trump had a big smile on his face when Governor DeSantis was speaking. Not so much on Nikki Haley, but hey, she came, she spoke. I actually thought Marco Rubio did really well. But I'm going to touch on with JD Vance. But again, folks, Rhode Island, we're going to get left behind. The rest of the country, last night, as you watched the message of law and order, you're not going to get that with the Democrat Party. And whether it is Governor McKee or whether it is Sabina Matos, Rhode Island is built as a magnet, as a corridor for illegals to come in. And what I have a problem with the station down the dial is they're just content to let McKee go on and use their airwaves to continually put out untruths about what the condition of the state is. The whole thing of, oh no, we're not a sanctuary state. And then they say, well, is Providence a sanctuary city? I'm not sure. The whole thing is folks, it's nonsense, as I've told you. It's complete nonsense because, as I have laid out, all right, so East Providence, they just arrested 3 illegals to get them a nice detainer. They wouldn't be treated any differently in Providence. They're not treated differently anywhere like that. That is a total myth. But McKee at this point, I mean, this guy, he doesn't, and I think the local media is actually even being too kind to him. Dan McGowan, who we talk about, or talk to, I should say, usually on a Thursday, columnist of the Boston Globe, he has a great piece this morning. Do you know in Providence, they're going to cut the school day by a half hour? That is insanity. You never go backwards. They were all talking about the efforts they went to extend the school day. All the charter schools have longer school days. Providence, they're going to cut it back because they say there isn't enough money in the teachers union unless you're going to pay them what they want. Like, that is complete. That is McKee. That is ludicrous. You have to stand up to them. Who thinks that's a good idea? Oh, now the Providence kids are going to get out even earlier. They're going to get out at 2:10 instead of 2:40. That is a joke. This guy, he and Matos, they have no business being there. And again, I want to say and call out, shame on my old station down the dial. They continue to just be a PR weapon, PR machine, vehicle, form of greed. There is definitely there's definitely an agreement with the McKee administration that if you come on and do ask the governor and go on, and that we'll give you full support, and we'll change our traffic reports, and we'll pretend the DOT has a handle on this whole thing. I just, how much more of this nonsense is going to continue? McKee, I'm fully behind Biden. Who believes that? Now, I want to remind you, if you want to experience a great restaurant, Don Jose's Tequila, authentic Mexican, right on Federal Hill, 351 Atwells Avenue, right near Tony's Colonial. It's on the kind of the, I don't want to say the bottom of the hill, but it's when you're going down, coming from like the Acorn. But there is plenty of safe, free parking. Don't forget, back patio's open. It's really fun to sit outside. Dining out front on Saturday nights, Monday through Thursday, and it's restaurant week. 3-course special. Taco Tuesday, 3 to 7. Brunch on Sundays, 10:30 to 3. And it's a fun atmosphere. It's delicious, authentic Mexican food with over 50 high-end tequilas in stock. Don Jose's Tequila. Well, folks, good afternoon. You're listening to the John DePetro Show. It's AM 1380 and 99.9 FM. I also just want to remind you, someone asked me if I recommended a lawn care service. I do. JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service. Now is the time. If you have some trees or branches before hurricane season comes, contact JD's Lawn Care and Tree Service, 401-441-0154, and I share their Facebook page. You can think of me, JD or JD Vance, JD Lawn Care and Tree Service. So JD Vance, what do we know about him? He's obviously going to be attacked. Total self-made guy. We're learning more that when he realized that he was being taken seriously, and he wasn't sure at first, there was a good, he started dressing a little bit better. He realized maybe he could be in better shape, started going on long distance runs, lost a little bit of weight. President Trump apparently was chatting with his wife at a gathering. I think it was in New York, I read. And she doesn't have political ambition, so he didn't mind that and said, Melania is kind of the same way. But he is, as we've said, I mean, it all depends. Some people don't like his view, but he is, by all accounts, if you were watching like Fox and Friends this morning, the real base, they love him. The Trump campaign, they're going to park him from what I understand, in Pennsylvania. And JD Vance is basically going to do a triangle of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan. And he's only 39. I mean, by now you're starting to hear. I mean, came from a troubled background, raised by his grandmother, former Marine. So the veterans absolutely love him. He's the only one of the final four that has any military experience. Went to Ohio State, Yale Law, started a successful business, and then he's in the Senate. It is a rags to riches story. So he is a force, and he's very, very smart and very well spoken. I can see why, if President Trump narrowed it down, which he seemed to JD Vance or Marco Rubio or that Governor Burgum of North Dakota, I can see why he chose JD Vance. And I think what people need to also understand is, right or wrong, they feel in some ways President Trump and JD Vance, it's kind of a new brand of the Republican Party. And I don't think enough people identify that or recognize that. Tucker Carlson is a big JD Vance fan. They definitely seem to share the same ideology. I want to just come back a little bit. In Rhode Island, the Republican brand for so long was that of Chafee, and Senator John Chafee, and then you had like a Link Ullman, and then you even had Governor Carcieri, then you had Link Chafee, who then it's a different brand than that. It's a different brand. The President Trump J.D. Vance Republican brand, it's different than the Bush brand of Republican. It's different than the Reagan brand. It's a little more, when you see the people that are attracted to President Trump, they're not, they may have been Democrats, but they're not progressives. And they're more what I would just call like a little more rough and tumble. As many of you that watch Road Patrol, I'm not going to name names, but I can't, the number of people that are out there that are in law enforcement and first responders who support President Trump. And I think the Trump campaign, they're coming to grips with the party is changing. Now, keep in mind, the Democrat Party is changing. But in our area, the Republican brand, which is, it's kind of the Chafee brand. It's where you don't mind losing. What I like about, as many of you know, President Trump, I mean, now he is beyond the ultimate fighter, and he proved that on Saturday. But J.D. Vance, President Trump, Jim Jordan, these are not people that are going to just roll over. And we need more of that in the Northeast, in Rhode Island, Massachusetts. I think in some ways, I mean, I know he's not on board with President Trump, but I think like the governor of New Hampshire is a little like that, Chris Sununu. The Republican brand is changing. There are people that live in Pennsylvania, that live in, obviously, Ohio, that live in Wisconsin and Michigan, and they don't relate, just as an example, they don't relate to a Gabe Amo. They don't relate to McKean Matos, right? The Democrat brand in our area, Maura Healey, the governor of Mass, bending over backwards for all these illegals showing up at Logan and kicking people out to find them housing. What kind of brand is that? The Rhode Island State House constantly being dictated to by the far left, where then they even start to reel in and go after the police in our area. The J.D. Vance brand, he's not a country club type guy. Granted, Trump owns country clubs, but he's not a country club type of guy. They're self-made individuals. And there are some people that are not on board with it. And I'm telling you, for the life of me, I don't understand why. Because the old brand is one that loses. And you need that type of spirit not to roll over. Like, stop being gracious. When you see President Trump, when you see J.D. Vance, when you see DeSantis last night, these are not people. These are not individuals that are going to roll over. Elise Stefanik, they're not going to roll over for Senator Whitehouse. They laugh at a McKee and a Seth Magaziner and Matos and Amo. This has to be a turning point to get rid of these clowns once and for all. Now, I have been critical of a lot of the Republicans at the Rhode Island State House. And someone I have been critical of is like that Jessica De La Cruz. And I want to repeat, like, stop trying to be kind to Ruggiero. They want to just run over you. It is what you sense is you can't show weakness. You can't show weakness with Harris. You can't try to be diplomatic. They perceive it as a weakness. Be tough with them. Punch back. And that is what people want right now. Now, I also want to remind people can evolve. They're all so quick to J.D. Vance said this. J.D. Vance said he was against. Hey, Obama was against gay marriage until suddenly he said he evolved and he was for it. Why can't people evolve? Why do people have to remain that way? So, and even when it comes to a situation like Ukraine, I mean, as much as anyone, no, I don't want to see Putin and China, Russia and China just start taking countries and taking our allies. But the real enemies here are China and Iran. They're the real enemies. And I'll say this, President Trump knows that. And you think J.D. Vance, they are not, this is going to be the ultimate administration of blank around and find out. Those days are over. Enough of this nonsense. Enough of the pronouns. Enough of the misgendering. Enough of the, this foolishness of men competing in female. We have had it. And the Rhode Island and Massachusetts Democrat parties have to embrace that. You have fighters at the top of the ticket. Governor McKee and Matos and this, political violence isn't acceptable. Someone was killed at the rally and 2 more were wounded. And if President Trump had not turned his head, would have been dead in a split second. It is embarrassing that woman is still the head of Secret Service. Completely. And I don't understand any of it. I don't know what to make of it, and I am not a conspiracy person. But none of this makes sense. That for 90 seconds, they knew they had a problem and did nothing. He should never have been on that stage. Never have been on that stage. I don't get any of that. This is what exactly was going on. And that woman doesn't even resign. She should have been fired. This is insanity. We're not talking about 9 seconds. 90 seconds. That 20-year-old misfit that was a dishwasher at a nursing home? That's who's taking out the leader of the free world? That is rock bottom. Matos, there should be no political violence from the MAGA Republicans. Is there anyone more embarrassing? When you want to talk about Rhode Island hitting rock bottom, Sabina Matos as lieutenant governor, to me, takes the cake. In McKee, who has no business being the governor. They're going to erase. The Providence schools are going to go back to their shorter day by a half hour. That is absolutely asinine. Oh my God. I can't believe the incompetence. Folks, this portion of our program, if you're listening right now on this Wednesday and you suffer from any foot or ankle problems, contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialists right in the Smithfield Medical Center, Route 5 in Smithfield. They perform all aspects of foot care, skin conditions, bunions, hammer toe. They treat injuries like fractures and sprains, digital x-ray. They take all health insurance. Foot pain is not normal. You don't have to live that way. This isn't your cross to bear. It's not God's will that you have foot pain. It's not normal. Shouldn't be ignored. Get treatment for it. 3 board certified podiatrists, not a 22-year-old kid in a store in a plaza saying, yeah, I can get you some $1,000 inserts. Contact Greenville Foot and Ankle Specialist. Call today, 401-949-3220. 401-949-3220. You can find them on Facebook and then also their website online at greenvillefoothandankle.com. And they are I'll tell you, that Smithfield Medical Center is very impressive. The people in Northern Rhode Island, you're lucky to have it. Take advantage of it. All right, let me see where we are. Yes, there's a few more seats left. Alan Hockman's tour, Red Sox to Baltimore, August 16th through the 18th. A road trip, seeing the Red Sox take on the Orioles. I'm telling you, it'll be your highlight of the summer. Contact them, though. Only a few seats left. 401-274-TRIP or 274trip.com. Road trip, Red Sox Orioles in Baltimore, August 16th through the 18th. I can't believe the decision-making that we're seeing going on right now. Biden even referred to his secrets, the head of Secret Service, Biden referred to her as a him. Wow. Good. Let him be. Let him be the nominee. I think it's great. Terrific. Him and Harris. Good. Good. Let them stay. What a joke. Trump in a landslide. And folks, as I have told you, I mean, Rhode Island's not alone. California Governor Newsom, he's going to have some problems. He's going to have a lot of problems. California, some of his policies. How about Elon Musk is bailing out of there, moving to Texas? I don't blame him. And by the way, I have become a big fan of X. They just let it all fly. They really do. If you're not on it, it's a terrific platform. You know what else? There's videos sometimes that I would post, and they're just maybe a little violent with some of the language. If I were to post them on FB, or if I were to post them on, forget about TikTok, Insta, or YouTube, a lot of times it gets flagged. Boy, not on X. Anything goes. Elon Musk, when he said that he viewed X as almost like Times Square, there's just, there's crazy people yelling, there's smart people, there's all kinds of things going on. I have become such a fan of X. It's terrific. There is no censorship. Sometimes with some of these other platforms, there is. But Magritte, it's a broken record at this point. It is. But what I'm having a tough time like coming to grips with, folks, it's July of 24. Dan McKee, his term runs, ready, do the math. A year from now, 25 is 1 year. July of 26 is 2 years. The soonest we can get rid of him is 2.5 years. The damage that is going to be done, he is on the wrong side. Like Dan McKee and Lieutenant Governor Matos, they're basically the opposites of Trump and Vance. And by the way, the same thing goes for Massachusetts, by the way. They do. And that Josh Levy, they got to get rid of that guy. That guy should not be the U.S. attorney. My God, the mistakes of the Biden administration. But it is comical to watch because right now, old Joe is not going anywhere. Folks, remember, for your roof, are you thinking of getting a new roof on this Wednesday? Contact Royal Exteriors today, 401-533-9989. Call, get a free quote. You're going to deal directly with the owner, Andrew. Royal Exteriors, free estimate. And yes, you can tell them I said to call, 401-533-9989. Maybe you're listening as you're riding along or watching. Royal Exteriors, where the customer is king or queen. And especially with some of the very violent rainstorms we've had, people that normally don't get rain have been getting rain coming in through their roof or their siding. Royal Exteriors, they're based right in Johnston. Call them, put them into the mix. Give Andrew a chance to pitch your business. I guarantee if you call Royal Exteriors, that's who you're going to choose for your roof or exterior siding. 401-533-9989 for Royal Exteriors. I'll say this also about JD Vance. He is in another league compared to VP Harris. Another league. Good. Let her be the nominee. That is a joke. It is a joke that Harris would be the nominee. So right now, McKee and Matos, and they're all lined up behind Biden and Harris. All right. There's a new poll out. Every other Democrat candidate outperforms Biden. And by the way, many of the other candidates do better than Harris. Okay. Biden to endorse sweeping change to the Supreme Court. It doesn't mean anything. He's not getting another term. Term limits, ethics code. Kamala could be, she's not going to be president. DNC aims to nominate the president the first week of August. Good luck with that. Mega donors plotting to change Joe's mind with money. Let's see. I thought Nikki Haley and Governor DeSantis, I thought they were very gracious last night. And despite what people, it is a united Republican Party. There's energy with this party. And folks, the election is not that far off. Early voting starts, I think, in 60 days in Pennsylvania. So the question right now, all the maps seem to show President Trump almost in position for, as John King of CNN said, a landslide. So the question is, who could they come up with that could change the dynamic August, September, October? I don't see it. I don't see it. I think we're getting very close to the 3-month mark. I'll tell you, Biden's not going to change anything. Good. Let him stay. Let him stay at the top of the ticket. I think it's great. As I've been saying, it's just been a series of things. Who are they going to put as the nominee in August? It's not. I think they recognize they're going to lose, but our area is going to drastically change. First of all, Governor McKee saying, "Oh, President Biden told me the federal government will pay 75% for the new bridge." The Trump administration, they're not giving these people that kind. Are you crazy? They're not giving them that kind of money. No one has been fired. No one has been suspended. No one has been reassigned. They still won't say what happened. What happened? Where'd all that money go? Millions gone. Gee, I wonder. Let's start an investigation. What I think you're going to find, and as I've said, is a Trump administration is going to bring an investigation with the FBI into the McKee administration, and they're going to find a lot. He has surrounded himself with a lot of sleazy individuals who have been skirting the law, and there's money missing, and the chickens are going to come home to roost. All right, here's what we're going to do. We are definitely Road Patrol later. That is quite a story that we have on DePetro.com regarding East Providence Police. Phenomenal job. Folks, we're going to break for the 1 o'clock news. Biden is still the president, right, by the way. J.D. Vance speaks tonight, and then President Trump tomorrow night. Next hour, Attorney Tim Dodd. Hear what he has to say about the Karen Read case. We're back on the other side with the John DePetro Show.